All right. Well, hello and welcome to another Full Throttle Junkie live stream. And today we have a guest with us. Introduce you to Rainbow USMC. He's been in a couple of my videos. I've been in a couple of his. So yeah, we can get this started. Let me come over here because I'm terrible at this. Turn that camera on, and hopefully my internet seems to be good for now. So, hello, Rainbow.
Hey, what's up? Could you hear me okay?
Yep, all good, all good.
Excellent.
So we got no one here right now on the live stream, but that is not a problem. Um, guess we'll kind of get into it a little bit on why we're here. Obviously, from the title, we're talking about 1200 cc's, which you have one.
I
You have
do.
a 1200.
I do. I do have a 1200 adventure, although I really don't use it as an adventure. I use it more as a street bike.
That's because you know, let me get my hands on it again. I'll take it off road and treat it like a proper adventure bike.
I don't have the right tires to take it
So,
off road, and I think it's too heavy. If I was going on a really long cross country where I was going to be all dirt roads, maybe in camping, but I just don't see the point for me.
that's like me and that GS when I took that GS off road. That
Yeah,
was, and I had street tires on it too. Actually, the
yeah,
video that's playing in the background with
yeah.
Amin Moto.
Got it.
So, yeah, I spoke with um, Doug, and he said he'll be over in the side chat, and Scotty might be around. So,
In Australia, we got somebody from Australia.
yep, yeah, we got a couple people watching. So, there's Doug. Hey, Doug. Doug is part of Alma Moto. He's actually here with us right now. There, that's Scotty. And on loan at the moment. What happened to the KLR? He's got a Pan America on loan, but
Hey, that's a good deal.
so speaking of, that's kind of the things we're talking about a little bit. So we'll go ahead and jump into what I am talking about today, which is 1200cc motorcycles. Are they worth getting? You made a video about this, which had some really good points in it, uh, such as like, do we really need all the power? But my thing is more of like you said, taking across country, hitting dirt roads, and going all over places like that. Hello, Blue Farm. Um, so I myself have taken a 600cc across the country before. It's doable, but it is a lot
Absolutely.
on the bike. It is a lot on the bike. It's even with my KLR, even with the 16 tooth front sprocket, I just went up to Orlando and back the other day, and I can cruise at 80, 85, and I'm really like pushing it. If I had the 1200, I'd just cruise, have to pass someone, bump it up to 85, 90 miles an hour, pass, get back into the groove, and just keep going. But so that's kind of why I'm looking at these bigger 1200 bikes, because I do a lot of moto camping and all over the place. So I think for me, a 1200cc would benefit me. But um, so talking about 1200, there is a couple of bikes that I am looking at. I have to go over here, click some buttons, click that.
While you're clicking, I'll kind of add to some of your points there. One of the benefits, first of all, if I think something like a CBX 500 Honda, let's look at an adventure bike. I think to me that's almost like the perfect bike. It's the perfect size. You have everything you need, and you can certainly do cross country. There's already people. There's the one girl who actually has already done back and forth now twice across the United States with, I think it's a CBX 500 from Honda. But the thing is, when you do have that bigger horsepower bike that's heavier, you just feel a little more stability on the highway. You can really load it up with gear, and it's not going to
Yes.
affect you. So when you're on the big interstates, it's better to have the bigger bike. But if you're going to be taking a real nice slow ride across the country on all like country roads, there's absolutely no reason why you need something that big. And ultimately, to make these trips, people are going across country on 250s and used to go across country on 125. So it is overkill, but it's just something that's becoming the norm now.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can also wrestle these bigger bikes off road if you're and you could do some single track with these, but more along for the highway and stuff like that, because I do plan on doing things, like the Trans America and the Pan America Trail, going all over the place. So, but it's definitely doable on a lower CC bike by all means. But it is nice to have that little bit of extra power. So, Rally Explorer today. Yeah, so Doug was down and he looked at the Rally Explorer. He got his hands on one. He was looking at it. He didn't
Oh,
get
the
to
rally
ride it.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the 21-inch tire, the off, the real enduro version, I guess, of the Tiger.
Yeah,
Huh?
that is what is on the screen right now. This is one of the bikes I have been eyeballing. I haven't been able to get my hands on one of these, but this is one of the bikes on the radar. The 1160cc engine, 147 horsepower at 95 foot-pounds of torque. So, as we know, I've put it in a couple of my previous videos. I will be getting a new bike within a year, hopefully, and that's kind of my goal, is to be able to get a bike within a year. So 21 front, like you said, 18 rear, um, tubeless spoked wheels, which a lot of these adventure bikes are. If you're doing any serious off roading, you're gonna want the spoked wheels, aluminum. If I just feel like the spoked wheels will give a little bit more. Aluminum will, when it breaks, it just shatters. So that is my forethought on the wheels.
Understood. I
But
did not. Sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I did not get an opportunity to ride the Triumph Tiger 1200 Rally, but I did get a chance to test ride the Triumph Tiger 1200 GT, which is more the street version. And a week after I did that, they took delivery of the GT Explorer with that big, 8-gallon tank on it and a whole bunch more bells and whistles. But what I could tell you is I had a lot of good things to say about that 2023 Triumph Tiger GT. I really liked it. I loved the way it felt, the way it rode, the way the comfort in it. It had everything you really need. It's got that shaft drive, which a little bit less maintenance for you. So I gave it a great review. And if they didn't, if I think I said this in the video, and just so that you know, if they didn't change the dynamics of the Multistrada, then and I was buying an adventure bike again, I would probably end up with that Tiger 1200 GT for sure. This new iteration of it
Versus the multi, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and you have a new Multistrada coming as well.
That is correct. Yeah.
So looking forward to that one.
Me too. Who knows when?
I'm very good at stealing people's bikes these days, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Well.
So, all right, let me remove this one. So, the Tiger is one of the ones that are. I mean, there's a big four, is what I call it. The big four that I have my eyes on. And Doug was awesome enough to let me borrow his BMW GS. So that's going to be the next one on the list. Um, Let me get rid of this. Sorry, I'm over here clicking again. I am terrible at this. Okay, there's that. So the big four next on the list is the BMW, and I have it pulled up right here. Boom. There we go. So the 2023. Now, I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that BMW is now coming out with a 1300 GS instead of the 1250. But on their website right now, it's showing just the 23R 1250 GS Adventure.
And that could be possible because, and it's, I watched a video about some of these emissions in Europe. So the word on the street is that the Goldwing, they're not going to build the Goldwing anymore. It's potential that they're going to just stop because they won't be able to meet the emissions unless they make the engine bigger. So I think what a lot of these manufacturers are doing, which is really counterproductive, maybe that means that these regulations, but these Euro 4, Euro 5, Euro 6 regulations that are, I think these 6 is current or coming out, or there's Euro 7 scheduled. Their way around it is to create a larger bore engine in order to gain compliance and have the torque and horsepower that they want. So I can certainly see them going to a 1300. I don't think there's any reason for them to do it because I wrote the adventure version of the GS and I loved it. I thought it was a great bike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the GS platform. I mean, number one, they've been doing it for many, 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 many years. Number two, it's kind of really refined and well-tuned machine. Like I said, I rode Doug's. When we went to Hungarylands, I was having a blast with that thing. I believe it's the same horsepower as the one that they have now. So I think his is an 18 or a 19. 136 horsepower, 105 foot-pounds of torque. With a 7.9 gallon gas tank.
Oof,
but to me, it's a great looking bike though. Like between this and the Tiger, on the list, like these are the two best looking bikes. So
yeah, next to the Multistrada, absolutely.
Nah, I don't know. You're gonna hate me for this, but I don't like the looks of the Multistrada. It looks like that bird beak from, I forget what movie it is, but I'll have to find it. Once I find it, I'm gonna send it to you, and you're gonna be like, I can never look at my Ducati again. So has the new Ducati adventure bike hit the States yet? I'm hanging out to see it. Is he talking about the Multistrada?
I think he's talking about the Desert X.
Oh, okay.
You should. Could you verify that? I think they're talking about that Desert X, which I just came from Italy in May, and I did the Ducati factory tour, and the Desert X's were flying out of that factory when I was there. So they were definitely pumping them out. But I believe Europe kind of gets them first.
Yeah, except for the KLR. They didn't get the KLR apparently. That's why I got that deal with Puge.
Yeah, I wonder if that was if that's like a Euro 5 or Euro 5 or Euro 6 or whatever they're on. I wonder if it's an emissions issue with the European market for the KLR.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Europe or where is Puge's headquarters. I don't remember, but
sounds French, but I don't know where they're at.
Puge.
Huge.
It's Puge.
Huge.
So moving on from the BMW, another one that I have been looking at is the KTM, the Super Adventure. This bike is a little bit different than the other ones as far as like the frame style, and this is just like This is more of a kind of geared more towards off road almost. You know how they have everything set up, but great looking bike except for the front end. Like that headlight to me just looks weird. It looks like a grasshopper.
It does.
So,
It,
6-speed transmission, which they all have. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? Did I mute myself again? Nope. There we are. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Jeff?
me? No,
Yeah.
I was looking up where Puge is located, but so I I can't say that that I dislike KTM, especially since I have an RC 390 on order. But that's a very specific bike for a very specific track for a very specific reason why I'm getting one. But I'm just I don't really see I don't really care for the look and the color scheme of their adventure bikes, and I know that everyone who has one loves it, and everyone always says, "Oh, you got to try one." Well, I'll try one when I can. It's getting to test ride one is very difficult, and they look like a great bike, but I just didn't care for like the color scheme and the way it looks. I would be more drawn to the GS and, of course, the more superior Multistrada.
Superior. Okay. Although I do gotta say, I think your Multistrada is the only bike that I've ever been on, adventure bike wise, that I was able to do 150 miles an hour.
And you didn't touch the end of that zone yet either.
No, no, I let off. But I
Yeah.
let off because your freaking bike started spewing coolant all over me.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, that was what you found. That is the cap was put on cross-threaded, causing that leak.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't the bike's fault at
No,
all.
it was the service center here local.
And that's kind of the thing with Ducati though. Like you either hear about people who have had no issues with theirs, and it seems to be like a 50-50 thing. Like they've never had an issue, bike's been great, runs great, and then other times you hear of these just horror nightmare stories. And yours kind of started to play out as a horror nightmare story, and then Ducati was like, hey, let's get this fixed immediately, which I'm super proud of them for doing that. This is awesome. But yeah, let's see. What is the? I have the skills for large ADV bikes, but mid-size ADV. He's migrating. Well, I tell you what, Doug. I'll trade you the KLR for the GS, and then I won't have to look for another bike. No, I can't get rid of that KLR. Oh man, we got another freaking. And no one here is a moderator. I just got rated. Hang on a second. I gotta go to YouTube now. I don't know why. Hang on. Give me a moment.
Sure thing.
Yeah. I need to make someone a moderator who
Probably
can.
yourself.
Hang on a second. Wash my mouth. Okay. Let me. How do I? Oh, now my computer is like. Okay. All right. Click on Doug. No. Why is it not working? Oh, here we go. Hide. Okay, Doug, I'm making you a moderator, which I don't know why you weren't to begin with. And then this one, I'm going to Fort.
Hey, while you're doing that, I'm going to go over an old 2016 article from Visor Down.
Yes.
While you're doing that, so that we keep things moving forward.
Yep.
They come out with a list of the top 10 recalls by motorcycle manufacturing. This is on Visor Down. And what they said in 2016, Aprilia was number 10 with 13 recalls in a decade. Piaggio, we're not going to count that because those are, we're not here for them. Those are scooters. Suzuki was number 8 with 23 recalls. Then Harley, again, as we go down the list, it's worse. Harley Davidson had 28 recalls. All right. So it's actually making Aprilia look pretty good. And then Triumph, then Ducati, then Honda had 33 recalls in the last decade. But Honda also has a ton of different models. So I don't think this is really fair to look at this, based on a number of, if you look at the number of models and number of vehicles, you put into production. Number 3, Kawasaki. Number 2, and I've known about this for a while, BMW is one of the highest recall rates in the industry for motorcycles. It seems like there's always something. And even back when I was looking at an R1200 RT or R1250 RT for touring, there was a wait because there was a recall on the front on the brake calipers. And the number 1 recall, this is, again, I'm going back to 2016 in the last decade, which means from 2006 to 2016, was Yamaha. So Yamaha was the worst. The second worst was BMW. Next was Kawasaki, then Honda, then Ducati, then Triumph. And Ducati and Triumph were pretty much neck and neck. Then Harley, Suzuki, Piaggio for the scooter people, and then Aprilia. So, we always hear bad things about Aprilia with oil leaks, but for a decade, they were way down the list.
Yeah.
Still working on that?
Yeah, I got it. I am good. Good to go. So your video started a good conversation the other day about Harley Davidson and the whatever what you call it, the what's the government thing. You just made a video about it, the warranties.
Oh, about the warranties with the Federal Trade Commission, yeah.
Yeah, that was a very interesting video.
It was, yeah.
If you're watching
Harley
this,
Davidson. It was Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson was the only motorcycle manufacturer that was called out, and to basically get their head out of their butt with their warranty, because they have it written in their warranty that if you get your bike serviced at a non-dealer, if you go to an independent dealer for a simple servicing, that you void your warranty. If you put aftermarket parts on, you void your warranty. And there's a right to repair act that went through Congress a while ago. I don't know how long ago. And there's a right to repair. So you can't do that. And they're kind of being slapped on the wrist and saying, hey, fix this. Because it's not fair that we can't take something to a non-service dealer, and if we do that, we're gonna to an independent dealer, we're for an oil change, we're gonna void the warranty. Come on.
Yeah, and speaking of Harley Davidson, that's gonna bring me into the next bike of choice in America. Now, this bike, when it came out, I had the pleasure of actually going to the dealer. I think it was around the same time. I think me and you actually rode the same motorcycle, the Pan America that they had at Palm Beach Harley Davidson. So they let me take it for a ride. I didn't record or anything like that because this was a bike that I just kind of wanted to test out and just actually go ride the bike without worrying about having to film or anything like that. Because I right now I'm a big, European and Japanese manufacturer motorcycle person. I have Triumphs and I have Cowies. Oh, and a Suzuki. But I started out on Harley Davidsons, and I kind of fell out of the Harleys, because everything just started coming out being the same. just very old school, which I guess worked for them. And when they announced this thing, I was like, that is right up my alley. So I went out and took it for a ride, and I was impressed. I was impressed with the bike.
Yep, so was I.
It met all of my expectations. When I sit on this thing, it feels like a proper adventure bike, especially for someone my size. Um, I rode it. Uh, Doug says, meh. He wasn't impressed with the Pan America. I could see that being a little bit tall for Doug. Um, but it does lower automatically, all that
Yep.
good stuff. But the Pan America was it did surprise me. But the one thing I found that surprised me and is how quickly it hits to the rev limiter. I mean, you get on the throttle and you're already getting ready to shift, but it's fast. It is quick, but I feel like that engine could put out a little bit more, revolutions per minute. Let's say it's
Yeah,
kind of
honestly, yeah, it is a twin, and it's really it was their first run at a proper adventure bike, not just one of their other bikes with throwing some adventure tires on it and a slightly different suspension. This is the first time they had a proper with a really new engine that's liquid cooled, which is a big deal for Harley. I
yeah.
was very impressed with it. I liked the bike. I really did. Already having a lot of time on the Multistrada V4S before I hopped on the bike, I had a pretty good comparison, and I still prefer the Multistrada over it. But I was very impressed with it with this, mostly because you don't really feel like you're even riding a Harley, which is one of the reasons why I really liked it. It felt
Yeah.
nimble. It felt nimble, unlike to me most Harleys. I just feel like you have to point them in a direction. You can't really steer them. It's like you're always fighting. It just feels heavy and clunky. I thought it was a great bike, the Pan American.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see. It's 76.4 cubic inches. I'm trying to see. Okay, here we are. So 94 foot pounds of torque at 150 horsepower, but the RPM is 6750,
Oh yeah.
6,750. Very low, but I mean that's all Harleys are low revving like that. It makes most of his torque down low.
No, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you're going to have an adventure bike, I think you want your torque
That's
down
where,
low anyway.
yep, yeah, 46 miles to a gallon.
I'd like to see
I
that.
don't know how much fuel it holds. 5.6 gallons.
Not bad.
So
Not too
yeah,
shabby.
not
But
bad at
yeah.
all.
So you should get more mileage than I do out of the Ducati Multistrada V4S for sure.
569 pounds, which is actually not that bad considering. How much does a GS weigh?
Ooh,
Probably,
the GS Adventure.
yeah. So
I
I'm
will
looking
tell
at
you.
it. Data and equipment.
Uh, wow. An R1250 GS Adventure is like 485 kilograms. That's heavy.
Uh, it says
That can't be right. That's a
permitted.
thousand. That can't be. That's 1,000
It
pounds.
says on their website permitted total weight 1,069 pounds.
Yeah, I think that's the total weight. Uh, you know what? Hold on. I think it was the curb weight. I got it mixed up with. So you're right. That number, that 1,067, 1,069, that's their total weight you can have on the bike. But I believe
Un unladen weight. So 591 pounds, fully
Yeah,
fueled.
600. Yeah, it's 600-pound bike. That's the wet weight. Yeah, curb weight is 268 kilograms.
And they don't tell you the weight of the Tiger.
589, 589.
589. So they're all very, very similar
Yeah,
in
they're all
weight side.
close.
So
Very, very close.
radar.
Where did this go?
On Jesse's radar. Yep. Speaking of radar, one thing I did test out when I rode your Multistrada was the adaptive cruise control with the radar,
Yes.
which for longer highway distances, I could see that coming in clutch, being very, very useful. Um, so I think having that, I know the Tiger has it. I'm not sure if the BMW is going to have it or not. And I know the KTM does have it, and the Pan America, I believe, does not have it. So the adaptive cruise control is another thing to look at if that's something on your radar.
Well, yeah. If you're a weekend rider, I don't think it really matters. But if your intention it's to take long trips, we're going to have 8, 10, 12 hours a day of seat time, then the adaptive cruise control is absolutely fantastic because it really gives you an opportunity to sit back, take your hands off the controls, obviously in a safe position. And if the person in front of you slows down from 78 to 74, your bike slows down to 74, and you maintain a safe distance. So it's kind of good. And what is good is if you're not really paying attention and someone slows down, the bike's going to slow down. It's going to kind of grab your attention because you're going to feel the bike slow down if you're dozing off. So I think for the long trips, and when I took it all the way out to from South Florida all the way to Austin, Texas, and back, I used the adaptive cruise control quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was pretty good flowing traffic, so it came in very, very handy. And like any other cruise control, if you want to just, hey, I want to go around this person, and it'll go right back into cruise control. It's great.
Yep. So with all that being said, I'm gonna start wrapping this up a little bit, but we'll talk a little bit more. I want to hear your thoughts on. I mean, it being a Ducati a Multistrada owner, connoisseur, if you'd say.
Yeah.
If someone was out there looking and they're looking at these bikes, the 1200, top of the line adventure bikes, which one would you tell someone to go to?
It's a loaded question because it's a very personal answer. It really depends on what you're looking for. If I still say that the GS with BMW is still the golden standard for true adventure bikes. I don't think that's changed. If you're more street oriented and you like a more sportier feel and you want something that with more power, cannot go wrong with the Multistrada V4S. But if your intention is to do a lot of off-road, I would stay away from the Multistrada and I would go back towards that BMW with the GS suspension. I am not familiar enough with the adventure bikes, nor have I had any seat time on a KTM. If you go down to the 900 range, I'm kind of a big fan of the Tracer 9 GT.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also a great bike, but again, that's more street oriented. So when you want to talk to big adventure bikes, if you're a Harley guy, you can't go wrong with the Harley. I think Harley really hit a home run with their bike this year on the first one that came out. But it depends what you're looking for. If you just want an adventure bike because you want to feel more comfortable if you have to go over a curb or through some woods for a little bit or down a trail, just briefly, but you really want the street and the speed and that really good cornering and suspension, the multistrada is the way to go. But if you're going to truly be doing adventure riding and going on trips where you're going to spend 128 miles on dirt roads and through some trails, and you want to do a lot of long distance, then to me the BMW GS is still the golden standard for that. I think the GS is definitely more off-road capable than the multistrada. Not that it's not, but that telelever suspension, I think, is extremely helpful with off-road conditions.
Yeah.
And I've done some jumping with the GS Adventure. Yeah, I've done jumps with the GS Adventure, and I was extremely impressed on how it landed and how controllable it was.
Yeah, I took Doug's GS off road, and I hammered on that thing going down, a pothole filled, non maintained gravel road. Like it was like sugar sand dust road,
Mm-hmm.
and that thing handled like it was like I was on a super fast KLR. I was afraid of dropping it. I was terrified of dropping the thing.
Yeah.
But the GS is very capable. My only gripe about the GS was the foot peg position. I felt like my feet were too far up.
I'd agree with that. And to me, I really noticed it when I put my feet down, and it seems like the pegs were just jamming up against me, and I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
But it just, maybe they have an adjustment kit for that. Something it could be a simple fix if they have new sets, for you for that.
Correct. Alrighty. Well, that's going to go ahead and conclude today's little live stream. It's a short one. It was a fun one. Be sure if you're watching this afterwards, by all means, go check my links down in the descriptions, channel memberships, Teespring, my membership, which is Amin Moto. Their link is down in the description, and I'll try to get your link in there as well, Rainbow, to have go check out his Multistrada videos. A lot of cool things have happened with his bike, and the stuff that's continuing, that's going to happen, and some big things planned in the future. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for following along. This is going to be the start of looking for the perfect motorcycle for me. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'm Full Throttle Junkie, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.
Take care, folks.